All right, hello, hello, hello. Thank you guys for joining me on the live. Shout out to all of you guys who are on YouTube. Hey. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Yannick Mador, and today I am going to talk to you about the attitude of success. The attitude of success, because success definitely has an attitude. And so does poverty, so does failure. All of those things have an attitude, but we're going to focus on the attitude of success. And this is important because I've noticed that there's been a lot of entitlement going on in the world, right? Like, you know what? I should just have this. I should receive this promotion. My business should succeed. And we'll have like this strong level of entitlement without having the right attitude. And the right attitude can open up doors that were previously closed. The right attitude can get you the promotion, the job that maybe you weren't as qualified for. The right avenue, and the right attitude will just create new avenues for you. Okay. So I'm going to give you 7 points that's going to help you get to the next level. And the first thing is just understanding what your attitude is. Your attitude is the countenance that you bring into your environments. Yes, this the way you interact with your environments, the way you're thinking, and how your thinking manifests into your behavior. That is your attitude. Other people may call it a paradigm, but we're just going to focus on the word attitude today. And the first step to having a successful attitude is to understand that your attitude must support your vision. Your attitude has to support your vision. Okay. For instance, if you have a vision of working with large groups of people, being an influencer, someone that's highly influential, and you know you're going to be around people, you have to have the attitude of patience. You cannot be impatient and then expect to see success, in your business or in your life or in your family, what have you, right? Especially if it deals with being with a lot of people. If even if you want a big family, if you're like, you know what, I want 12 kids, you better have the attitude of patience. You better have it because you're going to need it. And oftentimes we make decisions and we walk through life with an attitude that's inconsistent with what we're looking to accomplish. I'll give you another example. I hope some of you guys watched the Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary. I watched it. I thought it was amazing. And I believe he did a perfect job of documenting his life, keeping it real from scandals to triumphs, everything. And so one of the things that I found was that from like a teenager, he decided he was going to be like, the number one bodybuilder in the world, and that he was going to build the best body in the world. And what that required of him was having just this steadfast attitude, and the reason that's important is because building your body, it takes time. It's a process. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's not something that you're just going to wake up even in a few years and you're going to be world champion or world champion status. That's just not how it works. Another part of his attitude was that he was the hardest worker. He decided he was going to be the hardest worker. And on the documentary, they show where he had like on a wall and a piece of chalk, and he would write out his reps. And if you watch it, you'll notice his reps for a single exercise would like go down the wall. Like my rep is between like 3 and maybe 4 if I'm feeling really dedicated. Okay. This guy had like 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 reps of the same exercise. So a part of his attitude was that he was going to be the hardest worker. And most importantly, he had the attitude of a champion. No one could tell him that he wasn't going to be the number one bodybuilder in the world. As a matter of fact, he went to the United States and got second place in his first competition in the US, and he was very, very upset. So that's an example of making sure that your attitude supports your vision. And we even have examples. Say, for instance, you want to open up a nonprofit. You better have the attitude of humility, of compassion, patience, and kindness. And that's something that you can implement anywhere, but it's very important if having a thriving nonprofit is a part of your vision. So that's number one. Number two, you have to have the attitude of a servant. No one wants to hear this. I know. Some of you guys are going to click off right now. I don't mean that you're going to be in servitude. I don't mean that you're going to be used. Okay. But we live in a society where we believe everything is about us. And it's just not. It's just not. Or if it is, that means that we'll have a lot of people who are constantly getting their cups poured into and no one actually pouring into the cups. But what's amazing about that is there is a lot of opportunity if you are someone who's willing to serve and you are willing to pour water into the cups, AKA you are willing to be the leader. Why? Because leaders are constantly serving. Okay. And remember, every great idea must serve its patrons and serve its clients. You can have the best idea in the world, but if you don't give someone a great experience while they are there, if they don't feel like they're being served well, they will go out and use the cheaper version of whatever it is that you're offering, whether it's the cheaper restaurant, the cheaper consultant, the less expensive handbag, whatever, if they can have a better experience within that environment. And so when you think about the attitude of a servant, think about like going into a place that sells luxury goods. Soon as you walk in, hey, how are you? How can we help you? What are you looking for? Would you like some champagne? Would you like a bottle of water? Is the temperature right in here? You know, and they're just directing you towards where you need to go. They may even know your kids' names. Oh, hey, Sheila, how's Amber? Hey, Tom, how's your wife? All of these different things, right? And it's because they're looking to create an experience, and what they're trying to do is serve in a way that builds a connection and that builds loyalty. And having the attitude of a servant doesn't mean you're always going to get things right, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to have boundaries. What it means is that you're putting yourself in the position where you're putting the customer, your client, and the people around you ahead of your personal goals and desires. And I know we've all been in that position to where you go someplace and you're like, they just want my money. And once they get my money, they care nothing about me. They don't answer my text. I get poor service. They don't answer my emails, whatever that is. And that's how you can tell that they just don't have the attitude of a servant. And then they're not going to continue to get your money back. Number three, you carry the attitude of your highest self everywhere you go. This one was personal. This is me talking to myself as well. So I'm going to ask the question, what are you like when you're in a good place? What do you like when you're in a good place mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially? What do you like? What's your attitude like? How do you wake up in the morning? How do you speak to people? How do you treat them? How do you serve? How do you work? You know, how detailed are you? What are you like when you're at your best? And what you have to do is decide to have whatever that is at your best all the time. That means you have it when you go to work or when you're on Zoom. You have it when you're with your friends. You have it when you're with your partners. You have it when you're with your kids. Why? Because no one deserves you at your worst. They just don't. And we have to get out of the mindset that people have to earn our best. They don't have to earn our best. They deserve our best within the boundaries that we've set for the relationship. Whether it's a parent-child relationship, spouse, wife, husband, husband, wife, however you get down, you know, whether it's coworker to coworker, colleague to colleague, you know, boss, worker, you know, whatever it is, right? And the reason this is important is in reality, there's no clock in, clock out. And the experience that people have with us, yes, the experience that people have with us leaves little prints. And it's prints in their experience, like, putting your hands on the table. As much as you may say, oh, then you can't see that. Yes, you can. You can see that you had your hands there. We can see if you had your bad attitude there, even if it wasn't there from 9 to 5. Or maybe it's there during 9 to 5 and you go home, you're like, woo, finally I'm free. Whatever that may be. And if you're finding it difficult, because this is part of the journey and that is difficult and that's a very high standard, but you also have high goals. If you're finding it difficult, that means that you have to continue on your process of transformation. And you have to make it to where your highest self is the person that we see more often than not. And the reason I say that is because there are going to be times when you're off. But you need to commit and have the attitude of my highest self is going to be the person that's present at all times. Number 4, you have to be sacrificial. This is going to set you apart from the masses because no one wants to sacrifice anything. And if you are the person that's willing to sacrifice, put in the extra time, go the extra mile, do whatever, you're going to see success. And I'll give you an example. You ever go through the grocery store? I know I've had this experience in Publix, and you're like, you know what? I really want this. For me at the time, I was looking for wild rice. And I went to ask, one person, and they're like, oh, yeah, it's on aisle number, let's say 5, right? And I'm like, okay, great. Go to aisle number 5, don't see it. Leave, go to another person. They're like, what are you looking for? Wild rice? Oh, okay, cool. Let me walk you over there. Let me show you exactly where it is. To where they sacrificed some extra time for what they were doing to make sure that I had a better experience. That is how you're going to make a raving fan out of a customer. People notice when you go the extra mile, when you add the extra little ribbon, when you did whatever. You all know what you need to do to go the extra mile. Number 5, perseverance and steadfastness. We want everything to be easy. We do. We do. But struggle is what actually refines us. Struggling and striving is what got you here today. And so you have to persevere. You have to take on the attitude of you are someone that perseveres. You push through even when it gets hard. You don't quit just because you've come upon a roadblock. When you see a wall, you break it down. You find a way. And we need more of those people because so many people are softer than medicated cotton. And one thing that's going to help you hit your goals is to just move yourself far away from that. The second part of perseverance is your goals are like this. You start off here, you set a goal, then it's another goal, you get some more confidence, you set another, you set another, you set another. Next thing you know, you set a goal that's at the top of the mountain. But it's you hitting all these small goals that gives you the confidence of hitting that mountain. But in order for you to hit the goal that's at the top of the mountain, you have to have stamina. And stamina comes from being able to jump over hurdles, just like in track, over and over and over, to where you get so used to it, it's almost like they're not there. And that's why you have to have the attitude of someone who's going to persevere, someone who is steadfast, and they're going to just, go with it. They're going to figure it out. Number 6, you have to have the attitude of faithfulness. And no, I'm not talking about cheating on someone, even though you don't want to do that either. Faithfulness is you do what you said you would do, how you would do it, when you would do it. And I believe we all have room to grow in this area. We often find just little ways of wiggling out of doing the things that we say we're going to do. I've gotten to the point where I just have to write down everything that I promise someone because I will forget. But that's how important it is. And you have to really lean your mind towards this, right? Because we live in a world where ghosting, making excuses, all of those things are just the norm. Hey, you want to go out with me? I was at a restaurant with my husband last night. Saw a beautiful girl waiting in this restaurant. I know there was someone there that was supposed to meet her, and she was sitting there looking gorgeous with the most beautiful outfit on, hair done, makeup done, everything. And she had to at least be waiting at this very nice restaurant for at least half an hour. That is an example of a lack of faithfulness. If you say you're going to be there at this time, especially when you know someone's waiting on you and they're putting their hope and their energy into it, you got to find a way to be faithful towards that. And faithfulness is an attitude, it's a way of aligning yourself, it's a leaning to where if you take on this attitude, you're going to see success in everything that you do. And this is why. Distrust is a mountain that you have to break down piece by piece before you can even get to the heart of something. And a lack of faithfulness, when you don't do the things that you say you're going to do, what it does is it creates distrust. And next thing you know, instead of making progress, you're spending the majority of your time really breaking down that mountain to where you can get back into the place of trust again. So really have that attitude of faithfulness. Some people say under promise and over deliver, right? I'd like to say promise your absolute best and do your best to over deliver, because I want to stay competitive. So I don't want to under promise and know that I could do better for my just in case and have someone else promise the exact same thing that I could have promised, right? Because we're still competing in this world. So promise what your best is and do your absolute best to over deliver. And this is the last point. Seek evolution and transformation. This is the attitude you have, and this is the attitude you have when you're willing to transform and make changes at any point. Meaning you're not holding on to what's old. You're always ready for what's new. And you have an attitude of, you know what? I am an open vessel. If there's a better way of doing something, a better way of saying something, a better way to do anything, I'm going to be open to it. And also, I have the attitude of evolution. If you see me today, I believe today is what, the 27th of July, 2023, and you see me the 27th of July, 2024, and everything about me is the same, I have failed. Because there should be things about me that have gotten better. I should hopefully have more peace, more money, more success, more influence, more of everything. And that only comes when you take on the attitude of evolution and transformation. So you won't stay the same. You're going to be open to new ideas, and you accept your flaws and you're willing to do something about it. Because people who take on a transformative attitude accept who they are, but that openness makes them willing to do something about it. So I could go on a list and say, hey, make sure that you're positive. Make sure that, you're supportive. Make sure you're a team player. But you know all of these things. What I want you to do is to make sure you keep the attitude that's in alignment with your vision. Whatever your vision calls you to be, your attitude needs to reflect that every day. I need you to be sacrificial. I need you to have the attitude of a servant. I need you to persevere. I need you to be faithful. And ultimately, and lastly, I need you to be transformative. So hopefully this has helped you. I know it's helped me, and I've already taken lots of notes about what I'm going to change for the future. And if you're part of the group, I'm going to hang back with you all. If you want to join the group, go to theluminary.com, join the group. We would love to have you. And yeah, it's right there. You can see the QR code. Just scan it and you can join the group. And we have a live session at least once a month. and also office hours once a month where you can get on the line with me and we can walk through and hash through everything or one thing, whatever you need, as long as you have the space. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you next time.